some of the first half shot making, maybe mask some of the defensive issues that you've been having?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been talking about this a little bit. I think it was something that hopefully we can get better from. I think what happens sometimes, and it's happened to us as well. You're playing teams that are missing significant pieces, and we've had to go through that with DeMar and Vooch and Zach, right? Other teams have had to go through it, and I think you still cannot always measure yourself by just because we're getting the outcome. And I think our guys have been good understanding, or at least paying attention to the fact that some of these games are going to be different for us as teams, start to get whole. And they, Dallas, to their credit, even with Doncic being out and Porzingis being out, they still have played at a pretty high level. I think that the last 10 games, they've had the number one defense in the league. In the last 10 games, they've had the number one net rating. And they've been right around 10 or 11 defensively the last 10 games. So, this is obviously a team that plays really, really well on both ends and had been playing very, really well on both ends. And it's a game that I'm hopeful for us that we can really learn and get better from and grow from, what we went through in terms of really looking at this film and seeing areas that, we were maybe able to get away with some things that we couldn't get away with things that tonight. And not like they were intentionally trying to get away, but not having the awareness of, things are going to be a little bit more challenging, and they were more challenging tonight. Yeah, I mean, I think this season has probably taken a toll. You probably need to ask the players, but I'd imagine all these teams has a toll with guys going in and out. I mean, listen, it's hard to win. You're talking about the most competitive basketball league in the world. It's really, really hard. What these guys did, even just finding a way night in and night out to get the wins that they had gotten, winning 9 in a row. I'm really, really proud of what they did. But I've always said we can't just look at we're on some little winning streak here. We got to look at the totality of like, where are we really at, where are we heading, and where are we going, and how are we trending? And, as a coach, you're always, like I said, I wasn't trying to take anything away from what they did in that 9-game winning streak, but there is a bigger picture coming. And as you kind of march along and get closer and closer to the All-Star break, you start to get halfway through the season, you start to build out, kind of who you are. I still think there's room for growth for our team, for us to get better. And part of it is, we haven't been whole, and we're getting whole. I don't think our guys have ever once used that as an excuse. They've gone out and competed, and they've played hard, and they worked. And, tonight Dallas was better than us. I mean, it's just the way it was. They were better than us on both ends of the floor, and we've got to get better, and we got to improve. I don't think Darnell, I don't think it was like they're not listening. They were definitely listening. But I think what happens is when you play a lot of games, and not all of them, but a lot of games, where you're playing, even going back to the Houston game, and, the Lakers were trying to find their way, and teams were trying to find their way. And then we kind of, played Indiana twice. We played Washington twice. As you're going through it, it's not like they weren't paying attention, but you got to play the schedule that's in front of you. You got to play the personnel that's in front of you. And sometimes as you're playing, there's things that you can do on certain nights that you may be not be able to do another night. I think our guys have been open-eared about that and wanting to. So, but sometimes when you have a trend like that for a period of time, you don't realize it maybe all the time. And not to say that they weren't listening, they weren't aware of it, but when you play a game like this, you have a different feeling walking out of it. Like, okay, I got to be a lot better here. I've got to be a lot better here. A lot of times competition creates a measuring stick of where you've got to get better and where you've got to improve. And, for our team, I don't think that they were not heeding the message or tuning out the message at all. I think just the opposite. I think that these guys have really continually tried to put the best foot forward and stay locked in and do it. But I think what happens is just normally, it's not anybody's fault. There is slippage, when you're getting the results that we've gotten over the last 9 games, and you play a team like this, now you can find out a little bit more. And I think one of the things that happened to us earlier in the year is we played against a lot of teams that were really good and really whole, and then all of a sudden this COVID thing hit. And I think everybody across the league's teams have been really a lot different than maybe what they anticipated before the year started.
Just one more.
Yep. Yeah. I think that, is one thing, that's a play. I think there was several plays. Like I thought our defense was actually, we got off to a really poor start. They ran off 10 quick points, but then after that, it was, I think, a 22-point quarter for them. It was 32-22. And our defense was actually pretty good that second quarter. What really hurt us was to close the second quarter. The last 3 or 4 minutes of that quarter, I don't know how many points they ran off, but they ran off quite a bit, and they ended up getting, I think it was 55-54. We probably had an opportunity to keep them under 50 points in the first half, and we were able to do it. And then, I think one of the things happened, I felt like from the bench was, I think that we did not shoot the ball particularly well. I thought offensively tonight, we didn't necessarily play with a really good rhythm and flow. And we were very, very choppy. And we only had 11 assists in the first half, and we had shot a pretty high percentage. The second half, I really thought we moved the ball and we tried to generate and facilitate good shots. The problem was we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and I thought it bled into our defense.
Hey, Bill, you talked before the game about the busy stretch you guys have coming up 4 and 5 nights this week. Is there any thought to giving guys nights off, which has been popular in the league recent years?
Yeah, I mean, I think that those discussions, would be between the player and the medical. I think the biggest thing we've got to see, Mike, going into this stretch is, how do these guys feel coming out of some of these games? And I think we got a really, really good group of guys that would be honest if they felt like they, could not compete or play at the level they wanted to play to help the team. And we may do that. But I think, going in, just penciling in, hey, you're resting here and you're resting here, I think that would be hard to do without everybody getting together to talk about some of those things. But listen, with the number of games we're going to play, not even only this next 4 and 5, the number of games that we're going to play until the All-Star break, it's not just this little week stretch here. I know we've got 6 and 9, but I think it's like 24 games in like 36 days. So this is going to be going on for the next several weeks that we'll have to keep a close eye on, our guys and how they're doing and what may be best for them, but they've obviously got to participate in those conversations as well.
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, Billy, what was it that was breaking down for you guys defensively? Or maybe it was something that Dallas was doing exceptionally well that allowed them to get as many good looks from 3 and shoot it as well as they did in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Doncic is really, really good, and he's big and he's physical. And I think what happens is that, when they're screening for him and you're fighting, to kind of get back in front of him, he does a really good job of what I would call hostage dribble. He tries to keep the defender on his back. It ends up keeping the big, having to protect his drive to the front of the rim. And then what happens is, on the weak side, and if it's a side of 2, you can try to X cut out and communicate, an X situation, but sometimes the single side on the backside, and that guy's got to kind of do both. He's got to go in. When we've did a good job at the point of the screen, we're really, really physical. I thought it enabled our big to get out of coverage a little bit quicker, and we could get our guy back on the ball. There were some times that we did do a good job on, other times we hadn't. And I think that's been pretty consistent, Rob, of kind of, where our defense has been at. We've had some really, really good moments. We've done a really good job, and other moments where we need to get better. But I thought our guys competed and tried, at the point of the screen. We had some really good possessions and some good clips. Like I said, I thought the end of the second quarter really hurt us. And then I thought the second half, because we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, I think it bled into our defense. And we're going to have to, I've said this before, if we're not shooting the ball particularly well, we've got to have something else to give ourselves a chance. And it's going to have to be, defensively, we can't get drained by our offense, so to speak. And I didn't think we were great in the first half. We had a 32-point quarter. The second quarter wasn't great, especially I thought the second quarter offense really impacted our defense, especially late the last 4 minutes. And then I really thought we shared and moved the ball to start that third quarter. We were really, I thought, swinging it, moving it. We generated some good looks. We just didn't shoot the ball particularly well. And then they obviously made it. And I thought that bled into our defense.
Thanks, Billy.